Last week, I preached about how we are challenged to carry our own loads, those things that are simply what we're meant to carry, and how we are challenged to seek help in carrying the burdens of life and to offer help to others with their burdens. But whether or not we ministers are gifted with loads or burdens, we're called to love in a particular way. And that has likely been my largest learning in ministry, that with good support, I can love those with whom I disagree, those who have hurt me or my family. I can love people who have worn me out by dumping their loads on me. And I think that we get that from the people who love us and from Jesus. Mary anoints Jesus' feet. In this moment, Jesus is being loved with an abundance of love, a love that you could even smell, with a fragrance that would linger for days. Catherine Lewis, preaching professor at Luther Seminary, made a connection for me between the anointing of Jesus by Mary and Jesus' experience at the wedding of Cana with his mother. I'd never thought of this before, but it's an intriguing idea that I'm going to share with you. Perhaps Jesus thought back in that moment when Mary was anointing his feet, thought back to that wedding where his mother, who loved him, knew who he was and what he was capable of doing before even Jesus knew. Jesus insists it's not his time, but his mother knows better, as mothers often do. Because of her insistence, her encouragement, Jesus realizes the time really has come. Because of her love, Jesus can do what he was sent to do. Jesus' mother loves Jesus into his future as the Word made flesh. Now, in Bethany, Jesus finds himself in the same kind of transition period. Mary anoints Jesus right before his entrance into Jerusalem. Mary's love for Jesus makes it possible for Jesus to show extravagant love in what follows: washing the feet of his disciples, handing himself over to be arrested in the garden, carrying his own cross, dying, rising, and ascending. Mary loves Jesus into his future as the fulfillment of "For God so loved the world." Jesus needed Mary's love as much as she needed to show Jesus how much she loved him. Jesus is loved into his future by these two remarkable women, his mother and his friend. Jesus tells the disciples, yes, you can do this, throughout his ministry by loving them into their futures. He loves Peter and believes in him even while knowing that he will deny him. He loves Judas even while knowing Judas isn't up for being loved into the future. And by steeling himself for the trip into Jerusalem and all that follows, Jesus shows a love for the world, including us. As we sit in church in our homes for worship this week, we are surrounded by a community of people who have chosen to show extravagant love here at Christ First. Extravagant love gives us what we need to reach out into our community, our country, our world. It's the experience of that kind of love, received and given, that gives us what we need to face the uncertainty that life brings. That love has carried us this far and will carry you into the future as you add another person who loves you into the community. There is a legend that Celtic midwives, when baptizing a baby, would pass the baby from woman to woman, chanting a prayer that had at its heart these words: "Because you have been born into our community, we are a new community, different from the past." So with the arrival of Reverend Heather, expect newness, expect difference, and expect to be loved into your future.